What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Legendary Talks, episode 81. We have a very unique and special guy today, DJ White Shadow. He just texted me that I was 1 minute late getting on, which I was because I couldn't figure out what sunglasses to wear, which is usually the dilemma of my life. Hi guys, how are you joining? What's going on? Hey. What's everybody drinking? I am drinking Belvedere and soda. The very natural Belvedere. What's up, D-Nice? We have DJ White Shadow. I'm still waiting for you to do this, D-Nice. This is my episode, my 81st episode, D-Nice. Hope you're well. Hey, Chandra. What's up, guys? What's everybody drinking? Legendary Frank Roberts. What's up? Oh, Frank's Chop Shop. What up? Yes, like I was saying, I was late getting on, 1 minute late, and White Shadow texted me I'm late. I was trying to figure out what sunglasses to wear, and I could not get it together. And that is usually any reason why I'm late. Congratulations to you too, my friend D-Nice. Thank you. White Shadow is going to come on in a second. He is, a really unique, he just joined right now, a really unique, interesting guy. I can't wait to talk to him. He just joined. We're going to go live with him in 1 second. He is a Grammy Award winner, really interesting, cool guy. Let me see if I'm going to request you then. Okay. Hope everyone is doing well. Going live with White Shadow. Yeah, I made the right choice, by the way. I'm feeling these. Yes, Paul is my guy as well.
Hi!
What up?
Hi, buddy.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm renting a house in Miami, and I don't really have anywhere to sit, so I'm just going to sit in this bed.
Okay.
Feels comfortable and more exciting than sitting at the kitchen table.
Wait, for the record, you text me I'm late, and then you're not ready. Let's be. Hello.
I was just thinking of the hypocrisy of that as I was doing it. But yeah. How are you?
Okay. Good, really good. Good to see you. I was late because I was picking out my sunglasses, which is usually any reason why I'm late. So I made the right choice.
For those sunglasses, it was definitely worth being late.
They actually hurt a little bit. Okay. You're good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. What's going on in Miami?
I'm working on a record. So I rented a house down here for a little while to hang out. Felt like a good place to, better place to quarantine than LA.
Yep. I'm in LA at the moment. I am liking it though. I do miss New York though. So I don't know if you've seen this, but this is Legendary Talks. You're my 81st guest.
I've watched it. I've seen it. I've seen plenty of it. I like it. I love it. Good job.
And basically, what we do here is we celebrate people that have been very important to culture, whether they be, the most famous person in the world or not as well known. That doesn't matter to me. It's just people that have really done some really important things for culture and been important to culture. So I thought that you'd be a good person to have on.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Coming from you, that's an amazing. That's amazing.
Okay.
Thanks for asking me.
I want you to describe yourself first right now. People around here, some people may not know who you are. So describe yourself, briefly.
But like who I am or what I do.
Whatever you want to say, just say it.
I am a DJ and a musician and a producer and a writer, and I write songs and I've written a couple big songs and I've done some commercials. I've done some movie stuff and I'm just a weirdo artist from Detroit.
Yes. So that was very good, by the way. I like asking people to describe themselves. I would do it, but I think I like it better when people do it, themselves. I had DJ Cassidy on here, and he was let's say, very comfortable describing himself, but he had so many great things to say, so it was amazing. So I really like when people describe themselves. You did a great job of it.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yes, as you mentioned, you're from Detroit.
I am.
Anyone that has ever met me in any capacity knows that I'm from Detroit because I say it, and I say it as much as I can, as much as I can bring it in conversation and bring it in. So,
Yeah.
you know, Detroit's a very special place, as you know, and very, very influential for me personally, and you know, very near and dear to my heart. But you know, you happen to be from Detroit, but I always ask people these same kind of beginning questions. Is that, you know, the first, like, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, I believe that shapes who we become as a creative adult. Those years, not teenage years, it's like that before teenage, that really shapes
Sure.
who we are creatively. So I always like to ask, like, you know, what's the first song you ever remember? Connect, like, in the song that you really connected with.
White Lines by Grandmaster Flash.
Great one, good one. And then what's the first music video you remember, non-Michael Jackson? And the only reason I say not Michael Jackson is because everybody says Michael Jackson. So I like a more, you know, the other one besides Michael Jackson. What's the first video you remember?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I love Michael Jackson. I took the screens out of my mom's windows in the house and watched Thriller and jumped out the windows because I thought I was like a zombie because I loved Thriller so much. But that was like definitely after I heard, it was a tape called Mr. Magic's Rap Attack. So it had like Houdini
Yes,
and Grandmaster
yes.
Flash and Roxanne Shante. And that was like my first, like, oh my God, this is the best thing of all time. Yeah.
I know that album well, and I love it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's no shade to Michael Jackson. It's just that we all kind of grew up in that thing. So, you know, I think the other video or something, you know, people's other visual influence is more interesting to me. No shade to Michael Jackson, but what's the first?
I don't know if I literally have a tattoo of Michael Jackson as Jesus Christ like on my body. So like don't front on Michael Jackson.
I'm not at all. I'm just saying that, like, you know, after asking 81 people this question, they all say Michael Jackson Thriller. I want, you know, something more, basically, dig
Yeah.
deeper.
Yeah.
What was the first concert you went to?
Lenny Kravitz.
In Detroit?
I think yeah, at Pine Knob, which is like now DTE Music
I
Theater.
think I may have been at that concert. I saw Lenny Kravitz when I was very young as well. And what was that first concert experience like? Were you kind of blown away, or what was it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, honestly, I'm a fan of like all music. I know that people probably say that a lot, but Lenny Kravitz was like a big deal to me. The album Five was completely, it's like in my top 20 records of all time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I loved Lenny Kravitz when I was young. So and I think the same weekend, it was like the weekend that my parents were like, yo, you can go watch a concert if you want. I think I went to two that weekend. I think the second one was Steve Miller Band. They both played like back to back.
That one I did not see, by the way, Steve.
Right, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I was like sneaking, as soon as I could drive, we would just sneak to a concert venue and sneak in the concert. Like, we never paid for tickets until I was snuck in Detroit in particular. It was kind of easy there, I would say. And then another question I like asking people is, where were you getting your information from? Was it like MTV? Was it magazines? Was it BET? Was it the radio? Where do you think the main source of your kind of musical and those kind of influences was coming from?
Well, first it was MTV for sure. Second, it was the electrifying Mojo on
Yes,
107.5.
yes, yes, yes.
Third, it was Gary Chandler and or The Wizard from WJLB. And, you know, then it was like, yeah, it was an open box after that. I feel like I was on the hunt after that. But like, I used to watch the New Dance Show, and then like, it was like everything. In Detroit, you're surrounded by music 24/7. So it's like,
What's interesting is that I think you may be the first person I've interviewed from Detroit, and you're basically speaking my exact language.
yeah, yeah.
Electrifying Mojo is a huge influence in my life, period.
Yeah.
And then the New Dance Show and the scene were like, you know, kind of shaped me in many, many ways. But yeah, and I think people that really cared sought out that stuff. You know, if you really cared, you found it. You mean, you know, you find it.
You just didn't have to look very far in Detroit. I feel like it was everywhere.
Well, I feel like
it was revolutionary and game changing for the planet. Like, you know, not only people from Detroit. It's crazy. Detroit's
And then I always say Detroit radio, I think it's one of the best radios in the United States for sure. So
God level radio.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mojo in particular, electrifying Mojo.
Yeah.
And then what do you think you learned from Detroit in those younger years? What's the main kind of thing you've learned from Detroit? You learned from Detroit? Influence, let's say. Could be
I
music.
just the thing about Detroit is like it's insanely, like you could say like Miami's a melting pot, right? Like there's a lot of Caribbean influence and a lot of like Latin influence. There's a lot of hip hop and booty shaking. They kind of started like the Southern stuff. You can go to Atlanta and say, well, it's an influence. You can go to New York and say it's an influence, a hip hop thing and whatever. But Detroit is an insane melting pot. Like from literally like people from Detroit were like looking for music in Japan. You know what I mean? Like it was like you didn't have to be connected to something to be. There weren't people there from Germany, but like Mojo was playing records from Kraftwerk and Yellow Magic Orchestra, and then people were like, when I tell people that Cybertron was from Detroit, they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Because everybody feels like it's from New York because of like the heavy breakdance stuff in New York, but that shit was from Detroit, and it all came down the pike because Mojo was such a visionary and such a revolutionary and such a disruptor that he's like, "Oh, I'm going to play this shit for this community." And it shaped an entire genre of music. It's, in my opinion, one man is responsible for shaping an entire genre of music, and it's Electrifying Mojo.
First of all, it's so refreshing to talk to someone else that knows who Mojo is. But just so people don't know on here, the Electrifying Mojo was basically a disc jockey in the like late '80s and '90s, and he was unbelievably amazing. And like you're saying, a complete visionary musically. And really, it was an R&B radio station, but he was really pushing it. Pushing the envelope of that and doing some really amazing forward things and just really amazing and very popular. Like
he broke Prince. I mean, like Prince did one interview on terrestrial radio in the fucking planet, and it was with Electrifying Mojo because when his album came out, he played it for like 24 hours straight or some shit like that. Like before my time a little bit, but like. Yeah, Prince. I mean, like it's crazy. Mojo. I don't know why there's not a movie made by about him. Like it's insane.
Right. And also they played Madonna. I remember when I was very young, they played Madonna, which it's a black radio station, and they're playing Madonna on that radio station until she kind of became pop. They stopped playing her. When she was like out of the closet as a white girl, they weren't playing her anymore. But I remember them playing a lot of Madonna, that early Madonna record. Well, a couple of things about Detroit.
The one with Jelly Bean Ramirez.
Jelly Bean Pizza, yes. But wait, so I would say all white people from Detroit are just like you and I. We're all the same. All white people, we're really musical. Detroit is a really musical town, and I would say too, Detroit doesn't play. If you're not a good singer, they're gonna if you could be the most famous girl in the world and not a good singer, they're gonna say you're not a good singer. I don't think other cities are necessarily like that. So
it's an insane melting pot of music for sure. And also human beings. I've never met somebody from Detroit where I'm like, go fuck yourself. Like everybody I know from Detroit I'm like, yeah, like immediately, like you're the best person of all time.
I agree with you, but I say two things. For me personally, and I think this goes for anyone that's like in our field or industry, is that we grew up with work ethic and morals, and then we moved to these big cities, and we have that in our belt, which a lot of the other people don't have that. We have this ingrained work ethic in Detroit. We all work really hard. And I feel like other cities don't have that ingrained in them. So we have that mixed with our like music, our innate taste in music and that kind of stuff. So we come to these big cities and we do really well as Detroiters, I think, so.
I had 3 jobs when I was 14, and one of them was at a car wash.
My first job was washing dishes at a restaurant when I was 14. But I say, and then moving to New York, I said in my early 20s, any of my friends I had 3 jobs in my early 20s, all my 20s in New York, and I said, if anyone has like 1 job and they're 21 years old, that's a loser to me. That's a real loser.
Yeah. I still have 3 jobs, I feel like.
Me too. Yeah. I love working. It's a Detroit thing. I love working. Yeah. And then, okay, so well, I want to move on from Detroit, but we're getting stuck here. Yeah. So one thing too, like what do you think, you've traveled the world and you've done these really amazing things. What's the one Detroit thing that stays with you or that you bring with you in these, A-list rooms and things? What do you think has remained with you, Detroit?
I mean, yeah. So the work ethic, I think that but like the soul and the music and just like the multicultural like aspects of the city, I mean, like literally Detroit has. Fuck, man, I don't even know. Like you have 20 minutes. You're in a foreign country, right? Like, no, it's
Yeah.
Canada, but I mean, it's a foreign country. It's like, um, I don't know, man. Like Detroit has a thing. I mean, I have it. It's tattooed on my wrist. You know what I mean? Like it's like something that I feel like I can't imagine being growing up anywhere else. Like watching the birth of techno, or like the like coming up, the hip hop scene, the rock scene, soul music. It's like musically, I couldn't pick a better place to have grown up. So I think
Um,
that's it, right? Like that's for me. I like music. That's what I do. So I'm glad I'm from Detroit.
I'm also very glad I'm from Detroit. Like I said,
Yeah.
I tell every human I can,
Yeah.
that I'm from. Okay, so what was your first DJ job ever?
Getting paid.
Yeah.
Um, so I took the job at the car wash because it was next to a record store. We call it Record Time, because you were when I was young you couldn't get a job at Record Time because you had to be like fucking 30. Like that was like a coveted job. So I
Yeah.
was like, let me get a job as close to Record Time as humanly possible. And so I got this job at down the street from Record Time, and I would just go spend all my money at Record Time every day when I made it. You got paid in cash. The guy who owned the car wash was a fucking gangster. Like it was a money laundering operation basically. So like we paid us in cash like every day, and I would just go to the record store. Um, my I bought turntables at that record store and practiced every day. My freshman year of college, I ended up going to Japan. Um, and when I was in Japan, the first week I went to a bar where this guy had collected a bunch of records and had a set of 1200s. And I just asked him if I could DJ. And he was like, sure. And I sucked. I fucking sucked at it still. But like, I was a big, tall, goofy looking motherfucker, and that people wanted to see me just standing there. So like, I honed my skills in front of an audience that didn't really give a shit. So you know
That's
what I
how you
mean?
do it.
Yeah,
That's exactly how you do it.
yeah,
Wait, so your first DJ job was in Japan?
yeah. Isn't that crazy? But
Good.
I was only like 17. It was literally my freshman
Okay.
year at college, and like nobody was paying me to play a party in high school. So
And then what was your first big job?
DJing.
Yeah.
Um, the first big job was when I came back from Japan. I was in my dorm room and I lived across the hall from these two dudes that were pledging Alpha Phi Alpha. And we became really close friends because I used to leave my door open and sit there and practice DJing with my headphones on. Like I have my fucking turntables on the coffee table, and I would just sit there every day. And so these dudes that lived across the hall from me were like, "What are you doing?" And because I was always doing the same thing. And then one day they had a DJ that was coming in and driving from Detroit to college, and he got stuck in a snowstorm. And they were like, "We need you to play our party." And I was like, "I don't know if I can do that." And I did it, and I crushed it. And then after that, like I played every party for the Alphas, and then ended up playing all the ones for the Sigmas and the Deltas, and then all that shit. And then I opened a club, and then it was just like from there. It was just I was in Detroit, back in Detroit, DJing every weekend. Um, yeah, I mean it was crazy. Like from that, just sitting there and practicing nonstop.
And during that time when you were kind of like, new, was there anyone that you like looked up to, like a Derek May or somebody, or was there anyone that kind of mentored you around that time, or you kind of just navigating on your own?
I really navigated it on my own. I'm not saying that to brag. I wish I did have a mentor.
Yeah.
All my mentors, like I didn't know. You know what I mean? I had people I looked up to and watched them what they did, but mostly it was like just eyeballing people and trying to figure it out myself.
Yeah, I always say too, I don't know anyone that does what I do, so I kind of had to figure out my own way, just kind of doing, I kind of made my own lane for myself as well. I really don't know anyone that does exactly what I do.
Yeah, right.
Um, and okay, so you become kind of like a successful DJ. What's the years of that? So you start DJing, you're becoming a well-known DJ.
So at the same time, I was making like techno records. I was making like house records, techno records. They were synonymous. It was weird. Like in Detroit, like you played like these what they ended up calling ghetto tech, which was like real stripped down techno records that had really cool like soulful bass lines, and then usually some dirty ass shit over top of them. You know what I mean about having sex or fucking slapping butts or whatever. You know, it was like that's like the vibe. So I was like, um, I started making those type of records. I did a couple ones that were decent, garnered some attention overseas because that back in the day, that time, you make something in Detroit, and the only people that would play it outside of Detroit would be in Europe. So then I ended up traveling to Europe, making a little bit of money. I was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Um, and then when I turned like 23 or 24, I thought I was too old for it because, you know, whatever. You know what I mean? Like I was like a Midwest kid. I was like, there's no way I'm going to make it doing this. So I ended up saving my money, and I bought a nightclub. I bought like a little tiny nightclub, and then I ended up quitting DJing for a while, running this nightclub, selling it, and then going back to DJing again.
Got it. What
Yeah,
was the nightclub? Where was it?
in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And
I've
then
never.
there I sold that, and then I moved to Chicago and bought a club there.
Got it.
Yeah.
Always a visionary. What's your go-to song? Like now? What's your go-to? Like, let's say the crowd is kind of flat. What's your go-to song to get it popping?
Oh man. It depends on what the crowd is, right? I mean, like it's like for me, I don't really have like a go-to song. I probably have a Rolodex of go-to songs, but I play a lot different than I used to. It's not my main thing anymore, you know? So it's like, now I'm like, I do what I call old man play. I just play whatever the fuck I want. If you don't like it, then just get out.
Great. That's great.
which,
I'm
which,
like,
which I
awesome.
think I've earned the stripes to do. Like back in the day, it's like you got to play some little pump or something to get people all hyped up. I don't do that shit anymore, you know? No,
Well,
it's pump, but
you had to please back then. You don't have to please anymore. You
yeah,
know.
like you show up and I just do it. But I think I play good music, but it's just like, you know,
You're like, I am legendary White Shadow, bitches. You're like,
about that.
um, all
Ernest
right. So, wait. So you work with Lady Gaga, obviously. How did you guys meet? I have no idea. Actually, I don't know the story at all.
Better actually, what's crazy is like I started DJing all over the country. I was in LA playing this place called Hyde, and they gave me my own night, which at the time nobody was really playing like house music or techno music or even old school like hip hop shit. So I tried
Yeah.
to step out of the lane a little bit and play a bunch of stuff that people weren't playing in LA. So I started doing this house disco before it was fashionable. Everybody's doing mashup shit, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck that. I want to play house and disco and old hip hop. So I was doing like up tempo old hip hop, disco and house on this Sunday night. And Beyonce's sister, Beyonce's dancers came in after a Beyonce concert, and I ended up making friends with a couple other people, and then from there, like all these dancers started showing up, and then like it would be like a Soul Train line in this place like every night, and it was like my dream come true because it was like Tom Cruise and David Beckham are in the corner, and like, you know what I mean? Like there's like weird. I was like, I can't believe that like I'm this little tiny kid from Detroit, and all of a sudden I'm throwing these parties that like David Beckham wants to show up to, and then one night Gaga had a show like the House of Blues, actually I think it was, and came over. And her creative director came over, and I was playing all this dance shit. And he was like, "What the fuck is this?" I was like, "It's from Detroit." And he was like, "Because I was literally, what I was playing? Down by Aaron Carl. Bum, 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 bum. And I remember it because he came up and asked me, and I sent it to him. And yeah, I did. I put up a tape. Then I had to work on this thing, and I did it for him. And then he was like, "This is cool." He's like, "I work for this girl, Lady Gaga, and like, she's looking for music. I'll let you know when she's doing a new record." So I sent her some shit when she was doing a record, and then I went on tour with her for 10 years.
Wait, so was that she was already famous at the time? Because I did something with her around the Just Dance time, but I think you met her later, right?
It was like 2009. So like
Oh yeah,
she just started popping on radio, but she wasn't doing arenas yet. So
got it.
three arenas post Just Dance.
Because yeah, Leah Landon, who worked with her, they performed at I did a party with DJ Kiss and DJ MOS, and we had performances. I said we should get this girl Lady Gaga, and she was brand new. She
Yeah,
just Dance had just come out like 2-3 weeks. and we didn't know each other. She came in as Lady Gaga, you know, hood up, glasses on, like, you know, this, you know, and she killed. It was a small place, probably 200-300 people. She slaughtered that performance. She was
Yeah.
brand new. She slaughtered it. And so she did it for us for free. I think in the summer that same year, she played the Madison Square Garden. It was so crazy. She
Yeah,
went like that, you
yeah.
know. So
I mean, that's how it works. You know,
yeah.
you work hard and hard and hard until somebody opens, get your foot in the door, and then
But she was great. I loved her. I don't really know her that well, but you know, in those that around that time, you know, she was awesome.
no, she's
Why do you
still a
think?
wonderful human being. She's great, and she's still, I think, in my mind, and I might be a little biased, but because I've definitely seen more Lady Gaga shows than any human on the planet. But she's still the best performer I've ever been to see a show.
Um, I want to see. I never saw her Vegas show. I never. Is it gonna? Well, we don't know. But why do you think you guys connected though? Because I feel like you guys clicked and you were like this ever since. What in both of you think made you guys connect?
Um, I mean, you have to ask her what she thinks, but
Yeah.
you know, honestly, she's a great person, and she's so talented, and she's so kind, and you know, honestly, like when we first met, she challenged me, and I love being challenged, and I love working hard, and I love like making stuff that makes a difference, and like she just checked all of those boxes. So I was like, I never want to do anything with anybody else. So like, let's just keep doing rad shit. You know what I mean?
Also, is there kind of like something you learned right away about her from her? Like, you know, I think people like that, in my experiences, I learn from them. You know, people, they're very inspiring. So what's kind of like the first thing you learned from her that first 6 months or something? About yourself or, you know, kind of a life lesson?
You know, honestly, like there's so many things. Listen, bro, like I learned from you, like I learned from everybody. That's like part
Yeah.
of life. You got to keep learning from everybody. If you can't learn from somebody or it can't like whatever, they probably shouldn't be hanging around them. You know what I mean? For the most
Yeah.
part. So it's like that. You show me your friends, I'll show you your future vibe. You know, my dad used to always say that to me when I was hanging out with an asshole, like when I was a kid. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Like that's the vibe, right? So it's like, for me, I'm sure I did. I'm sure I learned a bunch from her. You know
Yeah.
what's funny is like I learned that like you have to work really hard. Like, you know, you think I remember the tour bus driver telling us like 2 weeks into it that we were the most boring motherfuckers he'd ever driven around on tour because like all we did was work. You know what I mean? Like we didn't go any parties or like hit the club with the tour bus or like just pop champagne and do crazy shit. We were working nonstop. And I remember the bus driver, like I was up front smoking a cigarette, you know, like in the front of the bus. And he was like, "You guys suck." And I was like, "What do you mean?" Like he was like, "You never do anything. Like it's so boring. I'm bored. I'm dying." I was like, "Sorry." Like,
You're nervous. Well, yeah, as you're saying, I'm thinking about Lady Gaga because yeah, she really was kind of performing and something like that was first couple like I don't know 3 or 2, 3, 4 years. She was literally everywhere, and you could tell how hard she was working. So I'm sure that includes you guys. Everybody was working so hard on that.
yeah,
The team, because she was literally just everywhere and doing amazing stuff and at such a great level. Like again, again and again and again, and that's why she went like that. You know what I mean? So
you
she
don't
wanted to work for it. So
you don't
and then
get
so
it
the
where she got by resting on your laurels. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
and then the first album you worked on with her was Born This Way.
Yep. Born This Way. Um, I think I did 11 songs on that record. I don't know. Somebody had the Wikipedia, but I did a lot of songs.
11,
Yeah.
not 12.
I don't.
And do you work directly? Like, do you guys work directly together in the studio, or how's the process?
Yeah.
Different.
In like if we would have been any closer, one of us would have had to carry the other one in a backpack. Like I mean, like she
Got it. Okay.
that like does work.
Well, I don't make music, but I know certain relationships. I feel like the producer artist relationship is very intimate it's a very intimate relationship in a great way. So
It works differently for everybody. For me, that's
yeah,
what worked the best. Is like if an artist wants to do a project, like I want to do the whole project. You know what I mean? I don't want to
yeah,
make a single and a single and a single. Like I want to know what motivates you and moves you, and like how
yeah.
this works. Quincy, no, not to go back to Jackson. the way Quincy Jones did Thriller, it's because they had such an intimate relationship with each other, like creatively, that they were able to make something fantastic. And I'm not comparing myself to Quincy Jones or Michael Jackson. I'm just saying that like that
But that
that
process.
mold fits me the best, like as far
Yeah.
as yeah.
Quincy Jones and I have the same birthday, by the way. Um, so you went on tour for how many tours? Like how many tours did you go on?
Everyone.
And
I've never been on a tour that I haven't been on. Everyone.
and I've seen her, you know, throughout the years. I've seen her several times. She has a great show, obviously. I was going to ask you if there was any wild tour stories, but you kind of say you guys were all boring. There's nothing like no crazy stories, or you
It's
missed
all,
the plane and
yeah, it's always like work related. The craziest story that I can tell you like right now is when what you were talking about that Madison Square Garden thing, right? Like I was there for that show and I was standing there and she was wanted something done and she was going on stage and getting ready, doing her vocal warm-ups or whatever. So I was in another little room that was like the size of a closet, like an outhouse. And I was working on this table, like a fold-out poker table. And I'm sitting there with my headphones on, and all of a sudden this woman walks in and says, "Hey, do you have an extra seat in here? We have somebody that needs to like sit down and before the show. Do you mind if I?" So I'm thinking she's gonna wheel in like a person that can't stand up anymore, or like that's just like exhausted. I don't know what's going on because like this is like not the best place to be sitting. It was the only place I could sit that was quiet, and so she's like, I was like, sure, I don't care. I'm on my headphones. Like if they want to come in, let them come in. And she opens the door and fucking Paul McCartney walked in and sat next to me. I was like, what is going on right now? So shit like that happens from time to time. And he just wanted to chat. So like I was like in the middle of work and then you're forced to make a decision. Do I finish this record for Lady Gaga? Or I talked to Paul McCartney in this closet. And the answer was I did not finish the record. I think I just was like, I'm never gonna get this chance again to talk to Paul McCartney. She's gonna have to suck this.
that is a pickle, but I think you made the right choice.
Yeah, yeah. He was hilarious and awesome, by the way. Yeah, it was great.
I met Mick Jagger. I've never met Paul McCartney. So okay, then you did art pop, which is I love art pop very much. I think that's around the time that you and I met. But I listened to that album from front to back, back to front. What's like one of your favorite songs, or kind of do you have a favorite off that album?
I mean, listen, man, the record was a really special record. There's a lot of outtakes from that record. We did a fucking lot of songs. As a body of work, it's crazy as fuck, and like I love that shit. Like it.
I do too. I love
Yeah.
it.
So like for me, it was a very personal record. It was pretty awesome to be a part of. I think that like as a whole body of work, it's like pretty incredible. Um,
I love this. I love the song Art Pop. That's one of my
yeah,
favorite songs.
too, me too. And literally, there's even the songs I didn't do, I think are awesome. I mean, that whole record is stellar. It's like. Yeah, it's left to center for sure, but I mean, like that's
That's exactly what I liked about it.
yeah,
Like it was totally left to center in a great way. It wasn't really a pop record.
yeah,
That's what I liked. It was really cool. Applause is one of the best songs. I think one of Lady Gaga's best songs for sure. I love that song. You mean?
I concur. I concur. And the story of that record, totally insane. Like totally insane. Like so insane that I can't even begin to tell you. But like it was a process to get that out. Um, and yeah, just to get to, I mean, like we kept playing the record for people and they're like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, what is this? And it's just like, well, I don't know, like we like it, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's cool. Like it's cool.
yeah, to get it out and get it up and get people to bite, uh, it was a process.
Which seems crazy because at that time, Lady Gaga was probably the biggest star in the world. One of the biggest stars in the entire world. So she, the fact that she just can't put out an album is crazy. That that you guys like, So
Listen, it's not even that. What people don't realize, I think about any kind of music, there's a lot of business, there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen all the time.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And there's some chefs in the kitchen that don't belong in the kitchen, and there's chefs that do belong in the kitchen that don't show up in the kitchen, and then it's a lot of emotions. So it's like
Well,
just like, oh, let's make some cool music and put it out. It's like let's fucking have a baby and like give it away to some people for a little while and see if it comes back alive or not. You know what I mean? Like that's the vibe.
or looking the same when we gave it to them.
Yeah.
Um, No, I think, in creative fields, we're all in creative fields, not we're all, but you and I are in creative fields, and I feel like it's a lot of people in charge sometimes that are not creative in these creative spaces. So that's the problem for me. I'm like,
Yeah, but
um,
I heard somebody say, romance without finance is a nuisance, right? Like it's like you got to have both sides of the sword to chop the head. So it's
very
like,
good point.
yeah,
Very good point.
at any rate, like you got to, in order to play a proper game, you got to have all the members of the team like doing the thing, and like not everybody agrees all the time. And there's some sensitive people, this guy, and then there's some people that are just like, yo, the math isn't working, and like sometimes you butt heads with each other. So
That was a good point, and it's so diplomatic of you, diplomatically said of you.
I mean, it's the truth.
Um, okay, so we met around this time. What's your first recollection of me, or what's your first memory of me?
Oh, exactly what it was. We were,
Okay.
yeah, it was an art pop ball that I did, and then you guys asked me to do the Hennessy party at Art Basel.
Yep. So I did
It was 2015.
yeah, I did the art pop rave, or was it the art rave? What was it
Yeah,
called?
yeah,
Art rave?
in New York.
Which was one of the best, definitely one of the best parties that year, one of the best parties I had done in a very long time. Just it was so massive and amazing, and had all this huge Jeff Koons sculptures and all these amazing things. It was an amazing thing, and you were the DJ there. And I remember I was not familiar with you yet, and I remember going, who the frick is that DJ? And you were playing all this, a little bit booty, bass music, all this really interesting, very interesting music,
Yeah.
I will say. And I was like, this is like, again, like you're saying, what Gaga liked to. I was like, I really haven't heard a lot of people playing this kind of music at all. Like,
Yeah.
the type of music you were playing, and it was just a really amazing, you were up in this big thing, I remember. It was just all white room, huge. It was really special, and that drew me to you.
I was fucking screaming my balls off and shooting champagne all over, and I had like 8 rappers from New York in the booth with me, and we were just going haywire.
No, it was amazing. That party in general was amazing. I mean, it was a really amazing party. You had to be there to get it. Otherwise, you can't really explain it. You had to be there. I mean, kind of thing. So.
It was awesome. That was a great party.
And then the Miami party for Art Basel, was it Nas performed?
Nas and Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember, I took you back. I remember I took you backstage. Remember?
Yep. I loved it.
And then we just clicked. We became friends. I to be honest, I'm not even sure we knew we were both from Detroit in the beginning. Did we? I think it was.
Did not. I remember when.
Yeah.
Thanks,
We
perfect.
just kind of clicked.
Remember, I made you your own VIP room at the club. Remember that? I don't remember what club we went to, but like I carved out.
We were at Club Live in Miami. I remember.
Yeah, and like there was a rope and like a little notch, and I made you a one-man VIP booth so I could guard.
That was not a problem. I like that. I like that. So yes, good. You do remember. So yeah, that I just remember thinking, wow, you play such a unique. Your sets were so unique, and I work with tons of DJs over the years, and I'm very, very into music and DJs, and they're all at a certain level, and you were just very unique, and I had never heard anything really like it. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then we just became fast friends, and we kind of like then started doing fun, crazy, wild things, throughout everywhere. We were like, I feel like.
I've come to tell you. Well, listen, we have a lot of friends in common too. Like I mean, like Mos and Kiss. I knew before I knew you. Dean Ice is one of my favorite people on the planet.
He was on here, and he said that.
What? He said what?
He was on here earlier, and he said he loves you.
Oh yeah, he's like my brother. Like I love that dude, and we've known each other for a long time. Long time. We also met in Miami. How crazy is that? Me and Dee met in Miami too. And so, let me think. But like, yeah, then I mean, I've come to a ton of your parties. Like, I love your parties. I think they're some of the best parties in the whole universe. You're a curator, one of the most handsome men that I know, and an innovator that your my Instagram is my favorite. I have so many good things to say about legendary Damon.
Thank you. That's great. I have great things to say about you. And then you're really good friends with Evan Ross, and I met him recently, like in the past couple of years, and he's amazing too.
Yeah.
Because I remember you were telling me before I knew him, you were telling me that you were with his mother, showing her my Instagram of photos I had of her on my Instagram.
Yeah,
she was like, amazing.
Yeah.
Like I like these people.
I'm Evan's daughter is my goddaughter. Yeah. Yeah.
He's really great. He's another one. We have so many mutual friends. We're kind of like, how have we never, all of his best friends are all of my very good friends, all of them, so. But yeah, he's great. I love him too.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more Gaga thing. So you did Star is Born, right?
Correct.
And you did, what songs did you do exactly? Or
I did all the songs that she did as a solo artist, as a solo artist. We did all those together.
and what did you, and you won a Grammy for what? What did you win a Grammy for?
Best soundtrack. I think it's best film. There's some technical thing to it. I don't even know. I just literally took it out of the box like 3 weeks ago. It's
This whole thing, you're so, congratulations.
best
You know,
music for film or something like that.
you're going to be, you know, I've had a couple other friends that had won Grammys before, and I tell them, you're going to, from this day forward, you will be Grammy Award winner, then your name. That
Yeah.
goes in people's names forever now, you know? So I've had friends too that also have it sitting in the corner. I'm like, girl, this is a big deal. You need to put this out, you know, it's a Grammy.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'll take it. Anything that makes me look cooler than I am, which is like pretty much everything, like I'll take any of it. I need all the help I can get.
Well, no, you will be Grammy Award winner going forward, you know. Also, we did a W Hotels project together with
Yeah.
Jennifer Hudson. So I did it was like a voguing. Oh no, the one we did in Chicago was not, but it was we did a series all over the United States, and did we only do Chicago together, or we did several? Do you remember?
No, we only did Chicago together.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Oh,
Which
that's
is cool.
the one in LA too, because you had Sierra, and
Yep.
that was the
Bernie.
yeah.
Yeah.
I came to that too.
And then, are you still working with the W?
No, they, they got bought by Marriott, and so when they switched over from SPG to Marriott, um, for me that whole project was more of a passion project and a
Yeah.
creative outlet and a fun thing to do with people that I loved. And when they did it of the guard, some players came off the field that were really important to me, and it just wasn't as exciting as it was at the beginning.
Yeah. No, but it was fun because I think I did a couple other things with them as well. I feel like with you, we were always kind of like intermingled during that time. And you're right, exactly. They were great. The people that were the heads of it at the time were great. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Speaking of D-Nice, what have you been kind of paying attention to anyone's IG Live or watching them, or how do you feel about all these IG Lives and the DJs?
I mean, listen, man. For a million and one reasons, uh, Dean is a monumental figure, both in music, hip hop, music in general. For me, as a DJ, I mean, I knew him when he was just a photographer and not a DJ, and like I met him at Art Basel when I was doing Adam 12's party at Art Basel. Him and Biz Markie came in, and I ended up meeting him that night, and I was like, "Holy shit, I love you!" Like, "Call Me D Nice" is like one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yep.
Put Me Down Production, Scotland Rock, all that, and
Yep.
and so before when he started doing the club quarantine thing, the first day when there was 100 people on it, like him and I were talking that whole day, and I was like, the next day he was like, "I don't know if I want to do it again. It's whatever. It's I don't," and I was like, "You should do it. You should keep doing it if it's entertaining." And then like
Just do it a couple more times. Yeah.
tired, and then I was like, "I get it, but now's the time." So it's like, it is well deserved, man. Like he is.
Oh, absolutely.
But when good things happen to good people, it's not a matter of if they'll happen, it's when they'll happen. And like, fuck, who knows? Dee's an incredible human being. So
I agree with you 100%. And Swiss Beats said it right in the beginning, the first couple weeks of quarantine. He said, "Isn't it amazing? It went right back to the DJs where it always belonged." All this, like, social media, because he's so right about that. And I agree with that. Have you seen what Cassidy's been doing? He did that old school thing.
yeah, like with the pass the mic kind of thing.
That is amazing. To be honest, it's amazing too. Those two, and they're both very close friends of mine, so I could not be happier. So like you're saying, it's not when good things happen to good people. It's not if, it's when. You're right. Yeah.
You just gotta stay consistent and happy. If you're consistent and happy and have a smile on your face and a hard work ethic, like you're going to win. It's like
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
This is my 81st episode. My 100th episode is coming up. I'm excited. So
you're like someday somebody's gonna come and archive all this, and aside from mine, I'm sure that it'll be an important.
Only 99 episodes. The one's gonna be gone.
Yeah, right. You don't know what happened to episode 81. It just disappeared.
Who was it again? Who was the other episode? And then creatively, what have you been doing? Like, where's your head been creatively? You said you're writing?
I am, yeah. I'm doing a couple of things. Here's my thing. I don't ever talk about the CD till it's on the shelf. I got a lot of things in the pipe. A lot of things were in the pipe before COVID. Things changed a little bit. I have some really, really monstrous things. I had like the last 3 years in music, right? For me, I do a big project, take a little bit of time off, and then go right back into building a year and a half to put something out. And 2020 was the year for me to like really get a lot of stuff going. I tattooed 2020 on my own fingers on January 1st this year because I had so many awesome deals closed and so much stuff ready to pop. And it all got kind of chilled out, which is fine because other great things happen. So um, I don't talk about the turkey until it's on the table with a fork in it. So like I'll assure you that I'm pleasantly happy and doing something really awesome.
Great.
Yeah,
So I will leave it at you're being very creative and excited about it. Let's leave it
yeah,
at that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, so a couple fun questions. Who have you met? Like you mentioned Paul McCartney. Who have you met that you have literally gagged over? You're like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I'm meeting this person. You mean? Could be anyone. Could be like a old school rapper or I don't
It
know.
always is. It always is an old school rapper. It's like, you know what I mean? Like the people that I've become friends with, you know, over the years are my heroes. You know what I mean? Like I've become friends with Big Daddy Kane and friends with Too Short and friends with T-Pain,
Yeah,
friends with Little John and like friends
yeah,
with people where I can call them and ask for their advice or ask
yeah.
them what they're doing or ask them to collaborate or hey, let's do a show together or whatever. I mean, Diana Ross calls me and leaves me voicemails. Like it's like my life is fucking not even my life. It's like the life my 12-year-old self would have like jumped out of, you know what I mean? I got to
That one I am jealous of. Like, I can't.
before he died, like, you know, like just I can make a list that is impossible dreams, but it's literally, one of those things where I'm always so appreciative of it. I don't know if you understand, like, which I'm actually sure that you do understand, like when you when you have an opportunity dreamed about for a child, it's like it's like surreal every single time. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like I saw Busy Bee getting a fucking Diet Coke at LAX and I almost shit my pants. I was like, this is the best day of all time. But literally, like every day is the best day of all time.
Well, similar to like D Nice is still a huge fan of stuff, which I think that's a really and you are and so am I, and I think that's a really important part of loving what you do. I feel like I don't take it for granted either. I mean sometimes I say all the time I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. This is insane that they're paying me to do this in a great way because I love it so much. Or I just say all the time I can't believe this is happening in a great way. I love what I do. Like
Oh yeah,
so
I love what you
so
do too.
huh?
I love what you do too.
I love what you do and you love what you do. What a love fest.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I posted a picture of me, and it was me kind of inspired by Slick Rick, and then Slick Rick liked the photo, and like, oh my gosh, I love that stuff. I'm a nerd too. I'm a total nerd that way.
Yeah. So,
Um, okay, so who are your top three preferably, but five artists of all time for you?
Leonard Skinner,
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jackson, Stevie Nicks, um, Sam Cooke. Uh,
Good.
uh, I mean, I got a bazillion. I don't know. Outcast.
Okay, that's good. That's five. That's plenty. That's good. Cornucopia, different genres, different styles.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna say top three, but top five rappers of all time.
Top five rappers. Big Daddy Kane. Um, Chuck D. And Nas.
Good. Yeah, I'm into Chuck D at the moment. I always am, but I'm having a Chuck D moment right now. Public Enemy moment. Yeah, good, good. I posted a picture of you and Gaga on my IG today. You were wearing a Public Enemy shirt. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's cool. And then if you could invite four people to dinner, living or dead, any four people, who would it be?
Bob Marley.
Everyone says Bob Marley. Everyone says that. He's like on everyone's dinner list.
Um, Bob Marley. Um, just Bob Marley. No.
That's fine. That's fine.
No, I mean like Bob Marley is like my hero as far as like activism and like
Yeah,
brain goes, you know. Uh,
yeah.
Einstein, Tesla, like Nikola Tesla, and Da Vinci, Leonardo.
Good ones.
Yeah.
It was unique, you. I don't. Yeah, but I think everyone keeps. One person said Bob Marley, Diana Ross, and Grace Jones the other day. I said, I need to be at that dinner. That's the dinner I want to be at. I'm
And
still jealous that she calls you. I'm jealous, but I did have Timac from The Last Dragon leave me a voicemail saying I have the glow, and I had Apollonia leave me a voicemail saying something like, what's up, you sexy shooter, or something. I'm like, you can't touch me. I'm like, you can't touch me.
and
Um,
and there's a really good video of you rapping with Little Kim, which is like a pretty solid.
That, yeah, Little Kim knows. First of all, Little Kim, the fact that Little Kim knows who I am still is like, oh my, like Little Kim knows me. I still feel that way.
That's literally
Um,
I know somebody who Little Kim knows. That's like one of my claims to fame.
no, that was the whole. Listen, I would love to tell that story in length one day too, because she was amazing. It's a hilarious, great story too, the whole thing. But
Video's incredible.
um, okay, so finally, one last question before we wrap it up. What are you grateful for right now in life? Not necessarily specifically COVID, but what are you just grateful for? What have you learned? Like, what are you grateful for?
Honestly, I've come in the in 2020, like when I've had a second to like sit down and think. I'm grateful for the mistakes I made.
Good, good answer.
I think that I've come to realize that some of my greatest mistakes have become like incredible assets, and I don't ever have to make them twice. But I hear sad songs stronger, and I feel the sunshine brighter because of the mistakes that I've made. So I mean, like I'm very fortunate to be able to have made some mistakes that I'll never make again.
Great, that's a great answer. And then one more thing, how can we support you? I asked everyone this too. Is people aren't working; it's a weird time. Is there any way that we can support you, or anything that you want us to support?
No, I mean, if you see me on the street, just come give me a hug.
Okay,
Yeah.
emotional support that works. All right. Well, again, I thank you for doing this. Like I said, we need here. The whole point of this is to celebrate people that have been really important to culture. You, to me, it's the way you think that's important. I think that needs to be celebrated. From the way you DJ to your answers about dinner, these kind of things. I think your brain is what and the way that your brain works is what we're celebrating here. You have a really unique perspective on music and the world and culture. And you've done a lot for many, many years, from 17 till now. And I think a lot of times people don't celebrate the fact that people work so hard and have worked so long and so hard. They just see the Grammy Award and the, Lady Gaga big performances, but there's so much other work that is equally as important to you, I'm sure, and influential. So we're celebrating that today. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you could see all the tears I cried, you'd probably add another inch of water to the desert. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of emotions. But
That's my point. People they just think it's like the Grammy Award. No, it's not. There's so much passion and hard work and for the love for the love of it is what it is. So so I know I can relate. So
yeah,
well, thank you again. You're awesome. Hope to see you soon. Let's do some fun stuff together. Put your Grammy somewhere high. Don't put it in the little corner. Make sure you celebrate your Grammy. Congratulations on that. Can't wait to see what you're doing with all this new stuff. And you're awesome. So thank you.
love you, buddy. Thank you very much. I'll give you a Grammy for a little while. You can turn it into a necklace.
Yes, exactly. I'll just hold it. I'll put it on my hat or something. It'd be a cool hat.
I love it. You can borrow it whenever. I'll take it.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
Man, I appreciate it.
No problem. Bye. Love you.
Love